right? So you guys are actually aligned differently to the aphelion and the paraphelion, so your winters and summers are more extreme than ours.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating to me. Also the Southern Cross and the Magellanic Clouds for the wind.
We like the waves that are here. And
I love the waves. I would plug my phone into the projector and show you, but I don't know how to.
So have you guys haven't been to, or Michelle, you haven't been to Australia before? It's your first
No,
time?
I haven't. Gabe was here when he was in the military. When you were in the Navy band, you came here for
2 months. Yeah. But not to Adelaide. I was in Perth and Sydney and Darwin, I believe. So,
Yeah, this is my first time, so I'm really stoked to be here.
Awesome stuff. Well, let's jump into some questions.
Yeah.
So let's start off with voice acting. Obviously, Michelle, created your Alicon on My Little Pony. And Gabe, you've done some work with music towards the show as well as a few other projects. How did you get into the industry?
Well, I started doing voice acting at a very young age. It's one of the first avenues I kind of explored in the entertainment industry. My parents were running a music school when I was growing up. I was introduced to music, musical theater, performing live on stage right from, I don't know, the second I could walk and talk. And then when I was around 4 years old, I started getting experience being in front of a microphone. Oh, hello.
Hello.
I was like, my parents, and they just appear out of nowhere.
it's Monique Krieger and Michael Krieger. I am now outnumbered 3-1.
Oh, it's the Krieger and a Brown
Yeah,
panel.
the Kriebers and the Brown panel.
That's right.
Takes 3
So,
of you to take me down.
the first thing I did in voice acting was I voiced a little swan in a Disney DVD series, and I sang for the character and I think a few speaking lines. And then I did, for 7 years, I did this program called Mason Academy, which was basically teaching Japanese children how to speak English. Did that for a really long time. It started when I was around 4 or 5, and then at 6 years old, I got an agent and booked Lucy in the new Peanuts, Charlie Brown series. And then I did things like Martha Speaks and My Little Pony, and those were all pretty at a pretty young age. Booked My Little Pony when I was 9, and I'm now 19. So yeah,
More
I've
than
been
half
doing
your
it.
life. She's a centaur.
Oh jeez, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's worth mentioning, it was Michelle Krieger's birthday a couple of weeks ago.
Happy birthday, Michelle!
Hello. I grew like 4 inches that day. There we are. That's my final height. That's right.
And Gabe, what about you? How did you get into first the music industry and then later voice acting?
I've been doing music again from a very young age. Me and my brother, first I joined the boys choir, singing Boys of Sioux Falls when I was in South Dakota, and I was around 9, I think. And then my brother and I started singing, and we kind of started our own little band, and we actually got pretty successful. We were able to tour most of the U.S. Doing our original music. We went to Nashville. But then we moved to Alaska, and we kind of put music aside for a while. I joined the military, intending to go into the SEAL program. I broke my leg in a skydiving accident, and I ended up joining the Navy band, which I didn't even know existed. You had to audition for it and then go to the school of music. So I did that. I was stationed in Japan for 3 years, and I toured most of the Eastern Hemisphere, including Australia, performing, American pop songs, as well as a song in the native language or a native song or whatever country I went to. So when I performed here, I performed that, I don't know the name of the song, but it's the K-San song. I left my heart to the samples around K-San. I don't know if you guys ever know that. Yeah, it's almost over to that. So that was the one I did when I was here. And even though everyone else wanted me to do Land Down Under, and I was like, no. I'm pretty sure they will not appreciate that. I come from Down Under. But yeah. And then I started a YouTube channel. Tabitha reached out to me. She was the first one to reach out to me. It's like, you should do voice acting. Then I got in touch with the Kriebers, and I went to Vancouver, then I got an agent, and then I did Drowning Stilton and Finding Dory and a little bit of My Little Pony stuff. And then they were like, no, you can't do My Little Pony anymore. So then I stopped.
For those of you who don't know as well, you're Becky on Finding Dory.
That's right, yeah.
How did that come about?
Just the way any voiceover gig, right? So you get an audition from your agent, you record your audition, and then, hopefully you book it, but most of the time you don't. That's kind of voiceover. Even for the best voice actors, they're booking maybe 1 out of every 10, and that's on the high side. So I was lucky enough to book it. They sent me actual bird sounds they wanted me to imitate, and then they sent me sides, which is another word for like the script, which was just motivation. It was like, make the sounds you would make if you were trying to eat a cup. You know, using the voice that you did before that you imitated of the bird. So I was, I was like, okay, this is the stupidest audition I've ever done. And then, yeah, then I booked it, and I went and recorded it in Vancouver, patched to LA, and Andrew Stanton, the writer and director, was in my ear telling me what he wanted me to do. I didn't even have a script in front of me, he just told me what he wanted.
But the best part is he didn't know that it was Finding Dory till he was watching it in theaters.
Yeah.
And he calls me in the movie, and he's like, Michelle.
I actually texted you, and then you called me.
Oh, I called
and when
you.
I answered, you were like, ah! And it was so loud that I
so
know
weird.
around her.
Yeah. Right,
Because often for auditions, if it's a bigger project like that, they don't tell you what it's for. But they sometimes don't even tell you when you're recording it. The Gabe, when he was recording it, didn't know what it was for, and literally
I
found out.
knew I was a loon called Becky. I didn't know what movie it was until after. And then I, emailed my agent, and I was like, hey, is this? She's like, oh yeah. Well, that would have been nice to know earlier, but she didn't know either. So.
I guess I got the same question to you, Michelle. We've heard about Gabe's story and how he goes through his audition process. How about yourself with Apple Bloom? Did you know it was My Little Pony? Were you a fan as a child?
I was not a fan of My Little Pony as a child, and well, not a fan, but I just never watched it because I think Generation 3 was a bit before my time. Like there was kind of no My Little Pony when I was, I don't know, 5, 10. There's nothing really new coming out. I was a big fan of, Phineas and Ferb, and yeah, I've always been a tomboy, so the old generation of My Little Pony probably wouldn't have been for me. But I didn't know that I was auditioning for My Little Pony 10 years ago. Yeah, they were getting us to audition for multiple different characters, which is very common, and they gave us the whole pool. Originally, it started with the main 6 because they didn't know how old they wanted the main 6 to be. So they started off auditioning. I was 9 at the time, and they were auditioning really me and Claire Corlett for the main 6. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna go for adults, and then we're gonna have like a set of little ponies. Yeah, exactly. Littler ponies.
Littleception.
And then there's a second round of auditions that had like all these characters kind of in one batch, including characters that I don't remember where they went, but like Twist.
Twist died on her.
I don't know where she went, but it was in one big pool, and it wasn't mentioning like which character's bigger than the others or whatever. And yeah, I auditioned I think only once. And then I was actually pretty surprised that I booked Apple Bloom because it was kind of an accent that I just pulled out of nowhere. I thought I was going to get Sweetie Belle, but then I kind of half did. And I think Maddie and Claire and I were cast well in that. But it's an interesting process.
Had you played a Southern character before that?
I played a Southern character before that, yeah. There was a series called Little Jake, and I was Jake. My favorite line was, I hate girls!
Oh, the irony.
Little Jake, and then after that, I was series regular in a CBC show where I also had a weird kind of country-ish, westernish accent, and then there was another project. I've done a strange amount of projects with a country accent. I don't know, it's a weird, not really related to My Little Pony whatsoever, just like, I don't know, I don't think that it's any better than my accents than some other ones. It's just a common one that comes across in projects.
As a former Southerner, you actually are. Your accent is more convincingly Southern than a lot of Canadian Southern accents. You're
There
better
you
than
go.
Ashley Ball. No offense to Ashley, but your Southern accent is more convincing. That's probably why.
You mentioned you played Jake.
Yes.
Who was a male character.
Yes, I played lots of boys.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about that. Is that common in voice acting? Or?
Very common for women to play boys. Think of Tara Strong, like Fairly Odd Parents, and Kathy, and as playing Spike. It's very common for especially older women to play younger boys. Very common. Yeah, because younger boys, as good as they might be, their voices unfortunately will change at a certain point, and that can really affect a show, and then they'd have to recast potentially. So, it's very common.
Okay. And let's delve a little bit more away from MLP and into your music.